What's up guys, it's Lillian here, and in this video I'm going to tell you guys exactly how you can pass the real estate exam in 2021 on your first try. I did it and I know you can too, so stay tuned if you're an aspiring real estate agent who wants to get in the game and you're looking to pass the exam. And if you stay to the end, I'll give you a cheat code that may give you that extra boost to pass. And for those who are new to my channel, please subscribe. It'll really help my channel out. I talk all about real estate, business, entrepreneurship, and personal finance. So if any of those topics interest you, please subscribe and be on the lookout for more videos. Alright, so let's get to it. I'm going to give you guys 10 tips to help you effectively study for the test. But before I even get to that, I gotta let you guys know the number one thing to keep in mind for this test is to basically understand that it's a mindset thing, like everything in life, right? You can't stress out about it. It's a challenging test, but it's very passable, if that's a word. So the important thing is to have your mind in the right place. Honestly, a lot of people told me that you fail in the first try, and it's very normal. And it might be normal for a lot of people, but for me, that wasn't my goal, obviously. So my goal was to pass the test, and I focused more on passing it than potentially failing it. So definitely have your mindset right. And now I'm going to give you guys my 10 tips to pass the test on your first try. All right. So tip number one. You want to read through the whole course. Now, I'm going to give you guys something that I did initially that really just messed me up. So I initially went into the course. I took the course online using this online school called Real Estate Express. And at first I wasn't crazy about the school, the course. However, I ended up passing the test on the first try, and I will say the content within the course definitely prepared me for it. So now I am an advocate for it. I definitely advise, if you guys are going to go ahead and choose a pre-licensing school or a course or whatever, to definitely check out Real Estate Express. There's a link down below if you want to go through with the course, and you get 35% off. So if you guys want to check it out, there's a link in the description, and yeah, you might want to go with that one. But basically, you want to read through the entire course. So in the beginning, I was skimming through the course, and at the end of every section or every chapter, there is a quiz, and I was just like skimming through it, and then I would get to the quiz, and I would just basically click any answers to basically get the right answers. Because after you click the answers, if you get them wrong, they'll provide you with the right answer. And I was just doing that, and I went through the whole 30-hour course doing that. So there's two courses that they give you. They give you a 30-hour course and they give you a 45-hour course. They're both pretty similar, but I don't know, it's just what you have to do, and you have to complete both. So I went through that whole thing, and I was skimming through it, and then I would pick any answers, and that honestly didn't help me at all. I failed a lot of the quizzes because I didn't really know the material, and it took me even longer to get through that first 30-hour course than it really should have. So I would really advise for you guys to read through the entire course, and some people do, some people don't, and they do well. But hey, for me, that's what I had to do, and that's what I'm advising you guys to do. I can only go off of what I did, so that's my advice for that. I think that'll help you in the long run when it comes to the actual test, because you'll actually know the material a little bit better. Just my advice. Tip number 2, study the summaries. So in every chapter of the course, there's going to be a summary, right? So like, you don't have to technically read through the whole chapter. The course is basically like an online textbook with quizzes and flashcards and all this other stuff. So what I did was I read through the chapters, and then there's summaries, right? So you can choose to either read the chapter or the summaries, or you could do both. In my case, that was what was most effective for me, was that I read through both. Smilo drinking some water. The dog. So I would really recommend reading through the summaries as well as the chapters. But some people have found success just reading through the summaries. That's really up to you. But again, I advise to read through everything. Reading through both was really, really helpful for me. Tip number 3, study the quizzes. So as I mentioned, at the end of every chapter, there are quizzes for you to take, right? And these quizzes are obviously based on the chapter. So if you study the quizzes, it'll give you good insight into what type of content will be on the test, because the quizzes are fairly accurate. I do remember some answers from the quizzes that were specifically on the test. However, the wording is very different when it comes to the test. Like, they'll definitely try to trick you, and what they say on the test is that it's not like a blatant answer. Like, it's not like a, you know, what is the definition? What is the definition of this word? First of all, it's you have to choose the most accurate answer. So there's going to be like a super inaccurate answer, a semi-accurate answer, and then a really accurate answer, and then like a random like answer. So you have to choose the most accurate answer, which can be a little confusing. So I would say study the quizzes. They're really important. They're at the end of every chapter, and at the end of the course, at the end of the 30-hour course and the 45-hour course, there are 2 main tests that you can take that are really helpful as well. So I would suggest that you take those. Again, this is in the Real Estate Express course. I didn't take any other course, I only took this course, and so that's what this video is kind of based around. Now, my 4th tip is to go through all the exams in the Real Estate Express course. I would highly recommend you go through their custom exams, and you go through their flashcards. I've heard very good things about the flashcards. For some reason, I wasn't able to access them. I don't know why, but I made my own flashcards because there's something about putting a pen to a paper and just like writing it out myself, so I wasn't too, worried about their flashcards, but I wrote my own flashcards. So if you get access to their flashcards, use theirs or write your own out. Writing my own out was really helpful. I use these specifically for the definitions of things, because there's a lot of terminology that you have to know, and not that they're going to ask you that on test, but you definitely have to know it in order to answer certain questions on the test. So that leads me into tip number 5, which is you should definitely grasp the concept of these questions instead of just memorizing the answers. Again, the questions aren't going to be the same exact questions. They're going to be framed very differently, so you really have to grasp the concept of the material that you're studying and not just like the actual like questions and answers, if that makes sense. Tip number 7, go through the exam prep multiple times. After you go through all the initial chapters and the quizzes and the exams, I would say go through it multiple times. That's what I did for my preparation. I literally went through all the modules over again, and I took the exams all over again, just because I wanted to be as best prepared as possible. I didn't take the individual quizzes. I took like the big major exams at the end of them, and I took a lot of custom exams. So I would say go through the exam prep multiple times, go through the test multiple times until you really understand like what you're getting wrong, and obviously making sure that you're correcting those answers as well. Tip number 8, I think. I honestly lost count. I always lose count. Okay, whatever tip number this is, I would really recommend you study at least 2 hours a day. Now, while I was studying for my test, I didn't have a job. It was in the midst of COVID. I mean, I didn't have a job before COVID anyway, but I was studying honestly probably like 3 hours a day, but I would suggest you set aside at least 2 hours a day, especially those who have a job. At the end of the night or in the very early in the morning, I really suggest early in the morning because there's no distractions really, and you have the most energy. I mean, you just woke up, take a cold shower or wash your face with cold water, do whatever you gotta do to wake up, and just give yourself 2 straight hours of complete and utter focus. And I think that'll really help you out. And then as you get closer to the test exam, I would say up it to maybe 3-4 hours, depending on your schedule, but at least 2 hours a day, because there's a lot of information that you need to get through, and if you don't, it'll just like double your time that it takes for you to get your license. For me, I got my license in about 3 months, studying 2 to 3 hours a day, in addition to some days off. I would probably study at least 5 times a week. I took a couple vacations, traveled a little bit, so it took me about 3 months to get through all the pre-licensing requirements and pass the courses and everything like that. And that was another thing that really annoyed me, was the fact that you have to pay to sit in front of a proctor for a pre-licensing exam. It's so weird. Like, I don't understand, but America is gotta make money with everything. But anyway, study at least 2 hours a day. My next tip: don't cram. It's way too much information for you to cram a couple nights before your exam. You will drive yourself crazy, you will stress yourself out, and if you go into this test stressed out, 9 times out of 10 you will fail. I hate to be like a Debbie Downer or whatever, but it's not one of those tests that you cram for. I crammed a lot in high school, so trust me, I get it, but this is not the test to do that, especially something that you gotta pay for, so take that into consideration. And then my next tip is pretty obvious, but I personally don't recommend you schedule your test until you're ready. For me, I scheduled it after I finished my pre-licensing courses. So I know some people who scheduled it as soon as they started the pre-licensing courses. You know, they scheduled it like a month or two later. Personally, I wanted to make sure that I finished the courses and I didn't rush into it. I wanted to make sure I finished the courses, and I also went through all of it over again in order to prepare myself as best as possible. So again, it took me about 3 months to get through all of that, and then after that I studied, like I went through everything all over again for about a week and a half, and I took it at the end of the second week. I took the test at the end of the second week and I passed with flying colors. So what I would recommend is that once you do get your pre-licensing exams and everything like that, I would recommend that you look on PSI, which is a site that I guess you use for, like, I think it's nationwide or whatever, where you schedule your test and you see what availability they have at local testing centers for you to take your test. Now, if you're in an area where like it's super booked up, you might want to schedule it now, but in advance. I would at least give yourself 90 days. But luckily for me, I was in an area where like there was one testing center that was like months out that I could take the test, and there was one that was like days out. So once I was done taking all my pre-licensing stuff, I scheduled it for about a week later or 2 weeks later, I think so, and then I took the test. So that's what I would recommend. Just wait till you get through the whole pre-licensing so you're completely ready, you feel completely ready to take the test, and you're not rushing, you're not cramming and anything like that. But in addition to that, I will say do not wait too long to take the test. As soon as you finish the pre-licensing qualifications and requirements and all that stuff, you take it soon after. I would say a week or two after, because otherwise the information will basically be leaving your mind, because if you're not like constantly practicing and studying and everything like that. I really recommend you take it as soon as you're done your pre-licensing stuff. And then a bonus tip is I would go on that PSI site. They also have a practice test for you to take. Now that test was kind of weird. It didn't really have much information that Real Estate Express provided, but it was good because it was a different form of test taking and it was different questions. I think I might have had 1 or 2 questions off of that on the real exam. So I mean, those 1 or 2 questions could be the difference. So I'd really recommend you take that as well, in addition to your whatever online school that you're at. And it's just more information. You have to pay for that test the same way you have to pay for everything else, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, those are all my tips when it comes to preparing for the exam. I know you guys are probably wondering, like, is it hard? Can you take it completely online? Like, how long is it? So I would say this: it's not easy, but it's not the hardest thing in the world. For me, I treat everything, I'm all in or all out. So I treated it like it was going to be really like, it was really important for me. So I studied for it in that manner. Now you take the pre-licensing courses online, which is the 30-hour course and the 45-hour course. I meant to specify, this is also just for Pennsylvania. I'm licensed in Pennsylvania. I don't know the licensing requirements in other areas, or the hours that are necessary in other areas. You're gonna have to look that up because it's state specific. And in my state, in Pennsylvania, it's 75 hours total of pre-licensing hours. And then the actual test, the state exam is 30 questions and the national exam is 80 questions for a total of 110 questions, and I believe they give you like 3 hours. So yeah, you have 3 hours to take the test, and there's plenty of time for you to get through it. So yeah. And then just some things to prepare for the day of the test. Definitely bring yourself a calculator. They provided me with a calculator when I got to the testing center. So it's not technically completely online. You have to go in person to take the test, but it has to be a basic calculator. If you don't have a basic calculator, I would definitely recommend buying one before you go in there. You don't really know if they're going to give you a calculator or not, so definitely just buy one just to be on the safe side. And you basically are like, you can't bring anything into the testing center, into the actual room that you're taking the test. So they're gonna take your phone, they're gonna take pretty much everything. You can't bring any like water and food, nothing. So just know that there's basically no way for you to cheat. They have cameras in every corner, everything. Like, you can't even think about cheating. And if you do, drop that in the comments, because there might be something that might be able to help somebody. Hey, I'm not advocating for cheating, but hey. And definitely get there 15 minutes ahead of time, just to give yourself some time in case of traffic or anything like that. You don't want to be late for this exam, because if you're late, they won't let you in and you basically forfeit your money, and that would suck, you know? So don't be late. Get there 15 minutes ahead of time, drink a lot of water, and get good night's sleep the night before. You should be doing this on a regular anyway, but this will definitely help. And just don't stress, you know? Like, you can pass this test. It's not rocket science. It's not the easiest thing in the world, again, but you know, if you take it serious and you pretty much take all the tips that I gave you, you will definitely pass on the first try. Go through all the courses, review all the courses, review all the exams, take it serious, and understand that this is it's gonna be a bright future for you. All right, so there you have it, guys. My top 10 tips that will for sure help you pass the test on the first try. It's a lot of information, but it's not rocket science. I know you guys got this. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with some other aspiring real estate agents. Hopefully this helps you, and hopefully it'll help them. And again, if you're looking to take the test or looking to take an online course, you can look for the link in the description for Real Estate Express. You'll get 35% off. And until next time, stay safe and stay blessed, guys. Peace.